Hi, welcome to Books and Bocadillos. My name is Maria Andrea, and this is my return to the Week in Review series. I've been away for about a couple of weeks, so in this review, I will talk about the books that I've read in the last 2 weeks and the books I'm currently reading, but the other things, maybe like highs and lows, might just be around this week because last week, if I'm honest, feels like it was ages ago. So, highlight. Highlight of the week. I think the highlight of the week was so last weekend I was on call at work and I was exhausted. That I think was probably the reason why I didn't get to do a week in review video last weekend was because work was um I was working. But Monday I got to take the day off. And I got to spend Monday with family. I spent the day with my mom, the afternoon with my mom and my nephew. And I just kind of took a day to just rest, and I needed that. So, did some errands with my mom, and it was nice to spend some family time. And then the low is on Wednesday, I started a detox, a 21-day detox. My husband and I both started it together. And we have made it to day 5, I think. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Yeah, today's day 5. The first 3 days were so awful. I had major caffeine and sugar withdrawal. Thursday, I was just super irritable. It's not like me, but I was just had a headache. It it was just awful. The first 2 days were the worst. Day 3 started to feel better. This weekend definitely feeling much, much better and looking forward to finishing up week 1. And I think after week 1, the rest of the detox days will just be a lot easier. So, but the low was this week was difficult because of that. Community posts. I think the only community post I've made this last couple of weeks are posts letting you know why I was being absent. I really enjoy being in community with you. I love being here to talk about what I'm reading, what I've read. I love tags. I haven't been able to do a tag in a little bit, and I miss you when I don't get to talk to you like this. I miss you. And so I just wanted to let those of you that check in on my channel every so often know that I'm here. I was just needing to slow down a bit, and so wasn't able to be here in this chair with you until now. I haven't done tags, so that was the next thing. And I'm again have my notepad here just to keep me on track. And then I want to talk about books. So books that I've read in the last 2 weeks and what I'm currently reading. I'm going to start with the books that I've read, and I have a lot of catching up. I was thinking about the way that I talk about books, and sometimes I feel like I want to say more, but I hold back because I don't want to give spoilers because I don't like spoilers. I like the discovery of books. So I like it when a reviewer mentions a book and maybe I find the premise interesting, or maybe I find the fact that they enjoyed it interesting and I look it up, and I like going into a book with as little information as possible. I do read the publisher summaries when I'm talking about books here, but sometimes even I kind of like skim them because I don't want to share too much. If you're like me and you don't like a lot of info, so that's why I keep things kind of light. But I also recognize that I maybe would like to be able to share just a little bit more. I do want to be a little bit more forthcoming with my thoughts and I'm having a difficult time finding a good balance. So I'm going to try this. For the books that I've read, when I talk about them in this weekend review, I will do like probably a 10 to 20 second summary of each book. And I want to say up front that I do have a plan. I am working on preparing a video in which I go more in depth on my 5-star books. So if I say that a book is 5 stars, I'm probably going to be coming back to talk about it soon. So here we go. The books that I read in the last 2 weeks. On ebook, I finished Sabrina and Corina. This was a book that I had started back in May for my birthday bingo challenge. And I'm still working on that. Like, I think of it like when you play bingo or you play loteria. At least in my family, we play a whole bunch of cards. So I may have a few bingo cards going at a time, and that's just the way that I jive. So I started Sabrina and Corina in May. I am a slow reader. I just finished it this morning. So this is my micro book review. The name of the book is Sabrina and Corina. The author is Fajardo-Anstine, and the publisher is Penguin Random House. One sentence synopsis. A collection of short stories whose characters will haunt you after you've read the book. I still think of some of the characters and think, what happened? The stories. They are amazing. If this book was a food, what would the food experience be? This book would be a buffet of Tex-Mex Southwestern cuisine. You would have the rice, you would have the beans, you would have, my mouth is watering, you would have enchiladas, and maybe the enchiladas would be something surprising, like with a surprise feeling you wouldn't expect. The salsa to accompany the food would have a kick. Like it would be not spicy, but to give you like a bit of like a good kick in the gut. And there of course would be sopapillas, and there would be tacos, and there would be nopales, tostadas, burritos, all of the stuff. The chimichanga, sure, why not? Let's throw a chimichanga in there. And it'd be like never ending, like that feeling, the gusto of enjoyment would be with you in every meal at all, like every course you'd have that. Horchata, you would have never ending horchata. Star rating, 5 stars. You would love this book if you like haunting stories with memorable characters who are complicated and complicated family dynamics. Okay, that's it. Next, I read Sense and Sensibility. I listened to the audio. I have this, I own the Pride and Prejudice one, and I wanted to continue with collecting these annotated editions. So I have this more than anything because I didn't actually read from here, because I was listening to the audiobook primarily, but I like these annotated editions because sometimes when I get stuck or maybe I feel like I missed something and the audiobook didn't, sometimes when you listen to an audiobook, you're left with the feeling of, what, did I just miss something? Then you can come back and get a lot more from this. So this to me feels like a reference book for the gaps. It helps fill in the gaps, my knowledge gap on the story when I need it. So I will tell you about Sense and Sensibility. Sense and Sensibility was written by Jane Austen. The publisher of this annotated edition that I have here in my hand is, this is annotated and edited with an introduction by David M. Shepard, and this is Anchor Books, a division of Random House, New York. And one sentence synopsis. This is the classic story of two sisters who love each other very much, and the nature of sisterhood, especially as they find love. If this book was a food experience, this would be high tea. This would be tea and biscuits. And I personally love Earl Grey, so I would definitely think Earl Grey would be fitting here, but just a really, really good cuppa with some English biscuits. And all of your like meddling relatives and friends at the table with you. All of the chisme happening while you're drinking tea and eating biscuits. Star rating. I gave this book 4 stars. And you would love it. You would love it if you like classic lit, if you like romance. The tropes of the romance would be, well, if you like maybe like slow burn romance, there's the will they won't they, there's a relationship of convenience happening. There's also like this sense of like yearning and longing. So if you like maybe a little bit of angst and a slow burn, and you like that sense of longing and yearning, I think you have double portions of this with the two sisters. And then I read Incense and Sensibility, and this is a retelling of Sense and Sensibility. This was written by Sonali Dev. I love Sonali Dev. I love her whole Raja series, the Raja family series. I read the Pride and Prejudice spinoff, and I read the Persuasion spinoff, and now I read this one, and this follows Yaz Raja, who's the brother of the Raja family, and the two sisters. India is the Eleanor character, and China is the Marianne character. And the publisher is, I will put the publishing information in the description box. I don't know who published those books. I listened to it on audio. My one sentence synopsis of Incense and Sensibility is: you will develop cravings for food while wishing the longing would be less, and wishing they would just get together already. It was so slow. It was just so slow. So you might as well make yourself that overnight oats recipe that they keep talking about, because you might as well have a lot of snacks and they will definitely make you crave a lot of mostly healthy snacks. And yeah, definitely have a lot of snacks. If this book was a food or a food experience, it would be, I mean, they kind of like cannot stop talking about overnight oats in this novel. So it would be having overnight oats while cuddling with your favorite being, whether that be a kitten, a cat, a dog, your partner, a friend, like it just that kind of like experience. A pillow. Star rating. I gave this book, I think I gave it 3 stars. I think I gave it 3 stars, and I definitely wish it had been less. But then reading Sense and Sensibility, I kind of felt like, okay, it was shorter than Sense and Sensibility, but it was still like, too much of this going around in circles. Like, okay, we all know how it ends, right? But yeah, I don't know. I felt a little dizzy. You would love it. You would love it if you love Jane Austen retellings, if you love a diverse cast of characters, if you love a like good like protagonist, like India plays, who is like the Eleanor. She's so lovely, and I mean, she has her flaws, but she's overall just very, very lovely and easy to like just root for. You like her so much. She's very, very likable. And Raj, I mean, yeah, yes, Rajay. He is likable too. So you would like it if you like likable characters. I think there's a lot here. And I think my favorite character was Brandy, who is actually the equivalent of Brandon in Sense and Sensibility. So there is LGBTQIA representation. Mary Ann is, from the very get-go, she is a lesbian, and you get to kind of see her go on this journey to find love, and I really enjoyed that. So that was a really like great part. If you love LGBTQ representation, if you like the sapphic romance, I think this one will give you some warm, fuzzy feelings. Next, Elatsoe. Elatsoe by Darcie, Little Badger, publisher in the description box. And Elatsoe is a YA fantasy that reads more like a middle grade and is a mashup of all of the fantasy tropes. If this book was a food or a food experience, it would be, like, literally, they talk about this in the story. She at one point is having a veggie nacho pie. It would be like the biggest nacho pie ever, because there are so many fantasy tropes happening here. There's so many. It's like a huge mashup, and that's what nachos are. Nachos are like everything is happening, and then there's so many ingredients, so many toppings, all the toppings. Like, this is multicultural fantasy of all kinds. So it would be like just the biggest in your face nacho pie. That's what this book is. And star rating, I gave it 3 stars, 3 out of 5. You would love it. This reads more like a middle grade, so you would love it if you love middle grade fantasy. You would love it. Next, I finished My Sister, the Serial Killer by Oyinkan Braithwaite. And this is published by Doubleday, New York. One sentence synopsis. Corina and Ayula are sisters. They have a complicated... Corina and Ayula are sisters who look out for each other. Sometime. If this book was a food or a food experience, it would be... Well, this book takes place in Nigeria. It would be a sit-down dinner, it would be a sit-down dinner. I don't want to say formal, but it would be like a family-style dinner in Nigeria with whatever the amazing Nigerian cook puts in front of you, and there will be dessert. Star rating. I think I gave this 5 stars. I think. You would love it. You would love it if you like propulsive reading. If you like bite-sized chapters that go quickly. If you need just a book to just read through quickly and just kind of like carry in your pocket and take it around, and whenever you just have a minute to, be able to get through a chapter in like a couple of minutes, this is the kind of book. It's like, you know what? It's also like fizzy soda. So there would definitely be fizzy soda at that family style Nigerian sit down meal. So those are the books that I read. I'm still currently reading Rest is Resistance by Tricia Hersey, and this is a book that I'm reading for a project that I'm working on, my professional life. Also for that same project that I'm working on, this is Self-Care for Latinas, and it is by Raquel Reichard. 100 plus ways to prioritize and rejuvenate your mind, body, and spirit. I talked about that one last time. This one, all I can say is, if you're interested in self-care for Latinas. It's about, I'll read the back. Embark on a journey to reclaim the power that is innately yours in self-care for Latinas, with over 100 self-care activities designed by and for Latinas, practicing cultivating a sense of mental, physical, and spiritual wellness. Latinas today face higher rates of depression, eating disorders, and self-harm ideation than non-Latina women. Engage in self-affirming exercises that inspire joy and challenge systems of oppression. Turn reggaeton lyrics into affirmations. Set boundaries and honor them, and embrace nuance. Celebrate your culture, find strength in your roots, and learn to self-advocate. Manage daily stressors and combat burnout. With focus on self-discovery and empowerment, Self-Care for Latinas will help you break down barriers and unleash a force of change within yourself and your community. Raquel Reichard is an award-winning journalist and editor whose work has appeared on Refinery 29, Cosmopolitan, Bustle, Well Plus Good, and other major news and lifestyle outlets based in Orlando, Florida. Raquel covers Latina body politics, culture, and music in her writing and reporting, exploring themes of wellness, bodily autonomy, colonialism, and diasporic belonging. In addition to writing, she founded Borilando, an arts, culture, and education nonprofit serving Puerto Ricans in Central Florida, and she leads a monthly brunch for Latinas in media. So far, I started it today, so I'm not very far in. I'm just still getting through the introductions and more of the issues-based parts before you get into the activities or the exploration bits. So if you're a Latina or you know a Latina, I think so far from what I've read, I think this is a really good gift. I gifted this to myself, but I could see myself gifting this to other friends. I'm also reading Asking for It. I checked this out from the library. This is by Louise O'Neill. Has anybody heard of this book or read this book? I had never heard of this author. I hadn't seen this book before. I found it at the public library, and it is a YA, and I'm reading this for my August reading event. So the inside of the flap here says, Emma O'Donovan is 18, beautiful and fearless. It's the beginning of summer in a quiet Irish town, and tonight she and her friends have dressed to impress. Everyone is at the big party, but all eyes are on Emma. The next morning, Emma's parents discover her in a heap on the doorstep of their home, unconscious. She is disheveled, bleeding and disoriented, looking as if she had been dumped there in a hurry. She remembers nothing from the party. That day, several devastating photos from the party are posted online and go viral, eventually launching a criminal investigation and sending the community into tumult. The media descends, neighbors choose sides, and people from all over the world want to talk about her story. Emma's life has been changed forever by an unthinkable and all too common act of sexual violence, and all she wants is to disappear. So this is reminding me a lot of Speak by Laurie Halse Anderson. I read that last year and really enjoyed it. Well, enjoyed is a weird word for it. I thought it was a great read. I was really happy that I read it. It was a very powerful reading experience. So in that sense, yes, it was powerful, and it was 5 stars. And I think this one has a lot of the same themes from Speak, but I'll be able to talk about it more once I get further in. I started it this weekend. And then I'm also reading The Book Thief by Markus Zusak, and this is my signed copy on my shelves upstairs. I love it. It's such a beautiful, beautiful book. And the really cool thing about having the physical book is the way that it's typed, the type. I think it's got these sections these sections here, like where the story happens, and then there's like the narrator's voice is a little bit more present or clear. And I wanted to show you like the really cool thing. If you own this book, you might know, but there's like artwork in it, and it's just really cool. So I am listening to the audiobook and then popping in here, and I am about 30% of the way through. And also for YA, for the August event, that's my, initially I picked that one up as my banned book, but the more thoughts on that. I think most of my books are going to be banned books for the books that I pick up this month. And I'm also, I just got it in from the library on ebook. It's on my Kindle now. It's Never Let Me Go by Kazuo Ishiguro. I had started it, and then I borrowed it from the library. Then it always has a lot of holds, so I didn't finish it. I had to return it, and then I finally got it back. So now I'm gonna kind of jump in where I left off and hopefully finish it this time around, but we shall see. I haven't DNF'd any books in the last couple of weeks. Now for community connections. So again, this is when I talk about ways in which I've communicated or connected with other content creators or viewers, whether it be in the comments or whether it be just through reading events. So I wanted to highlight 3 really like special to me community connections. The first one is, I wrote in my notes, I love the community around banned books here on BookTube. MJ at Reading This Live started this conversation last year about banned books from reading The Perks of Being a Wallflower. And she started this challenge of reading 24 banned books in 2024. And I like commented on her video that I would join that. I haven't been like counting down or like really structured. I've just kind of set in my head, okay, I would like to read 24 banned books this year. And I try to prioritize banned books whenever I can. I'm getting towards the end of the year, so I feel like, and because Banned Books Week is coming up in September, at the end of September, I know that during that week is when I actually like really prioritize the banned books. So it's funny how I just kind of waited till the last half of the year to really squeeze in all the banned books, but here we are. So MJ has continued to champion books that are being banned, and recently she shared an article that I also had a chance to read about the ban in Utah, and particularly targeting Sarah J. Maas's book, A Court of Thorns and Roses. I had been considering reading a Sarah J. Maas book for August, and I was kind of like on the fence thinking, well, if I get to it, I get to it. And when I saw MJ's video and I read the article about the banning of the books in Utah, and particularly this one, I thought it would be good. I've been trying to read through as many of the banned books, the YA ones. I'd like to read the middle grade as well, but I feel like especially interested in the YA literature. And since I'm doing August this month, I've also just kind of been focusing in on those banned books. And I signed up through MJ's channel and through her Voxer group to participate in the reading of A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. And so I'm really looking forward to that. I think most people who view my channel also view MJ's. But if you're interested, I think The more the merrier. It's always good to build community around banned books. And I'm really grateful that MJ is like rallying the call to unite and to read these books together, and I really appreciate that. Sui at Sui's Book Banter made a video this week about why read YA when you're middle-aged. Not like that exactly, but I really resonated with her thoughts. And so if you're curious, I do encourage you to check it out. I think she did a really great job at talking about the perks to being a YA reader. And there have also been some poetry response videos going around, and I'm really excited to join in on that conversation. I haven't yet recorded. I'm working on it. I actually started in my journal here writing down the poets. So there's like a couple of videos that were posted on BookTube, and they were talking about poets that you should know, or that the creator thought that people should check out. And then there's been responses, and the last one where I interacted with was Pat at Book Chat with Pat. So I'm hoping to add to the pile up of poets that have influenced us, right? Poets that we love, and that therefore we think that other people should know about or should consider checking out. Next, so podcasts. Last time I filmed this week in review series video, I mentioned Latino USA podcast. And so springing off from that, I've kind of been going back through their catalog and catching up on what I've missed in the last several months that I hadn't listened. And I found another podcast. So I listened to an interview between Maria Hinojosa at Latino USA with Isa Makasawa. And Isa Makasawa is an astrologer, and she has her own podcast also with Futuro Studios and Stitcher. And it's called Stars and Stars with Isa. I listened to the episode with Roxane Gay as my introduction to that podcast, and I really enjoyed it. So if you're a fan of Roxane Gay, or just interested in conversations with authors, philosophers, creators, activists, famous celebrities, in which they talk about their astrological chart, I would recommend it. I am a skeptic. I need to say that. I am a skeptic. I am not an astrology junkie or nerd. I know just surface level, and I am curious. I am a curious skeptic. So I came at this with a good sense of curiosity and a slight dose of skepticism. And I felt very welcomed. I felt like this was kind of like a therapy session, or like a session, not a therapy session necessarily, but maybe an intimate session with a good friend, in which they listen. So Isa does a really good job of listening and reflecting and helping the person, the celebrity, make connections between their consciousness, their awareness, their self-awareness, and what their astrological chart sign says, the planetary activity says, just that would potentially speak to them or give them a sense of validation or direction. And it's really fascinating, really, really fascinating. So if you're like me and you are a little bit of a skeptic and you're a little curious, I think that this is a very welcoming podcast for people who know little but just want to learn more. Okay. Recipe of the week. I mentioned earlier, Overnight Oats. That book, Incense and Sensibility, they could not stop talking about overnight oats. I wish that Sonali Dev had provided a recipe to these overnight oats that were just so amazing and delicious. I did my own research and I found a recipe that I think is like close to what I imagine that recipe would be. I will post it in the description box, and I will also just maybe post my healthier version. I made a healthy version as part of my detox. There was one day this last week where I could have a tropical oatmeal, and I made it like an overnight oats with mango and papaya and a little bit of maple syrup and I think coconut. It was shredded coconut. So good. So I'll post that. And I'm looking forward to coordinating a chat, hopefully a video recorded chat with a guest, a good friend, in commemoration of having 100 of you here, 100 plus now, subscribers, viewers, people who might look in and, be curious about what I'm talking about. And so I'm grateful to each and every one of you who have clicked subscribed, and I am happy to be in community with you. So I want to commemorate that milestone. I know that happened in May and it's been a few months and there's been a lot going on this summer, but I haven't forgotten about that, and I have somebody that might help me commemorate that milestone this week. So stay tuned. And that's it. Thank you so much for watching. My throat is really irritated now. So I will leave you with hasta la próxima.